When it comes to love and money, most of us would like to think that money doesn't matter, that love always wins and love will see us through to another day. If we're only committed to each other, we can get through everything together by the virtue of love. Love is powerful, yes. And here's the reality. Arguments over money are a leading cause of breakups of marriages and seriously committed relationships. So let's get real about your money today and give you 4 ways to talk with your partner about money. My name is Andrew Finney, your real estate geek. If you need help finding a top agent where you live, or if you simply want to drop me a line to say hello, my contact info is below. If you're new here, please go ahead and subscribe to this channel now and like this video. For reference, I upload 6 days a week, so be sure to tap the bell icon and YouTube will notify you of one of the next videos. Okay team, so let's take a closer look at this. There's 4 ways to talk about marriage from the first step or the first date all the way through marriage. So in today's episode, I'm going to outline 4 different ways that you can talk and get real with your partner about money, and also give you the top 10 reasons for divorce and 4 interesting facts. Okay, so let's go ahead and lead in. Before we even get into the points, I want to share with you, whenever it comes down to matters of the heart and it comes down to matters of what's in the wallet, what's in the bank, right? We definitely want to make sure that we always give respect, honesty, compassion, and understanding, so that they know that we're here for them and that we're a team. We're not an adversary. We want to get real, and at the same time, we want to be able to have those hard conversations with open dialogue and honesty. The best way to do that is to make sure that both people feel secure in their situation and both people feel secure in the conversation by listening to each other and not judging one another. So let's go ahead and go into the first one. So how to talk about money when you're on the first date. Now, I'm not saying that you got to Google them and you got to go onto one of those sites and start, figuring out what's going on with their finances right away and start investigating like that. I'm not saying, oh, okay. Oh, by the way, before we get to the restaurant or before we get to where we're going on the first date, I need you to send me your credit application. I need a credit application so I can pull your credit, make sure your FICO scores are in check, and check your debt loads and see what's going on. We're not saying that, but what we want to do is we definitely want to take a look at what's going on with the situation. How are they talking, how are they acting, how are they dressing, what do they appear to be doing with their thought process about money? Are they looking like they want to be lavish? Because here's the thing, on a first date especially, sometimes people might put a lavish spend on something because they're just trying to impress someone. So you got to take it all in balance in what's being said, but you can look for subtle cues from the first date through the next dates before you get into a committed relationship. As you're getting to know one another, listen to things. What kind of car do they drive? How much are they spending on the restaurant? By the way, there's nothing wrong with both people paying for their own side of the bill. If you want to be a gentleman or if you want to be a lady and you want to pay for each other's bill or you want to take turns, hey, cool, rock on, do your thing, do what works for you. At the same time, you want to be looking for subtle cues about money and spending habits. Are they living a champagne lifestyle on a beer budget, or are they living a beer lifestyle on a champagne budget? Now think about that one. Let's break it down one other way so that it helps to make the point very, very clear, because it's extremely important. So are they living beyond their means, or are they living below their means? If you have somebody living beyond their means, then that means their debt loads are going to be high, that they're trying to be too flashy, and that means that the financial picture is not as good as it might seem. Everything's being borrowed on credit. If you're living below your means, you're a little bit more prudent. It's not to say that you can't enjoy yourself, and it's not to say that you can't have nice things, but you're more prudent about the decisions and where you spend it and how much money that you save as a relation of the income that you make. It's important to start addressing those things up front and start identifying them in the partner, because either you're going to be in sync together from day one or you're not going to be in sync. Yes, love takes time to mature. Yes, love takes time to grow and to flourish, but by recognizing right out of the gate, either it feels right or it doesn't feel right. If it doesn't feel right, go ahead, pull shocks, move on, go and find the next person that you might want to go out with. But if it does feel right, okay, stay there, but make sure that you're also making sure you stay in sync the whole way through, from getting to know each other all the way to marriage. So the second thing is, how do you talk about money when you get committed? Well, it's really important when you get committed. Yeah, that's the step right before you might be talking about moving in together or about marriage, right? So you want to talk about, what are you going to do with your money? How are you going to look at things? This is now whenever you might be seeing somebody for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, right? You might be seeing them all the time, spending time with them every day, and you're really going to be able to pick up on the subtle cues about money and spending. Are you always going out, or are you guys staying home and cooking a meal together? Are you guys always going out for entertainment? Are you staying home, kicking back, watching some Netflix, watching some movies on television, or whatever the case may be? Maybe going for a hike, going for a walk, doing whatever that it is that you enjoy doing, right? What's going on with the money? Because if you're gonna have a serious future together, you gotta start getting real about your money. You gotta start talking through things like the different incomes, the debt loads that you guys have, your credit scores. Would you guys want to buy a house together? What would you guys like to accomplish together? And kind of start getting an idea from broad broader conversations. Where would you like to be whenever you retire? How old do you want to be when you retire? Start asking kind of vague questions, but broad questions that start giving you even more insight as you progress in your relationship. So the third point that we want to make is, how do you talk about money when you move in together? Now things start getting real. Now things start getting serious, and we need a better and clearer understanding of our partner's financial situation, their debt loads, how are you going to split bills, what are you going to do, right? So beyond just the logistical questions of how you're going to move in and where you're going to be going and how you'll be sharing the expenses, there are 6 core questions that you're going to want to consider asking of your significant other. So the first question is, what happens if one of you loses your job or gets sick? I really hope that doesn't happen to you, but at the same time, it does happen. It's a reality of life, and you need to know how you guys going to keep paying for everything if one of you gets sick or loses your job. How are you going to ride out that hard time, and how are you going to proceed moving forward? The second question you want to consider is, do you want to get married? And if so, would you be open to signing a prenuptial agreement? In today's day and age, people are getting older and older and older before they get married. In fact, it's recently been reported from the U.S. Census Bureau that the average age of a man before they get married is 29, and the average age of a woman is 27. So we're getting older and older and older before we choose to get married. Having said that, that means a lot of us have spent our 20s getting educated, getting our careers going, and we're starting to get into a better financial position by the time we get around our 30s. The average, interestingly enough, the average first-time homebuyer is 33 years old. So think about that. Let that marinate for a moment, just how significant that is. So if you have a prenuptial agreement and you already owned a home, that will protect your home depending on the way that you set up that agreement with your attorney. You need to consider whether that's the right thing for you. Some people believe in them, some people don't believe in them. At the end of the day, it's between you and your partner and what you guys want to do. Still a great question to ask. It lets you know whether the thought process is, whether they're looking to be a gold digger or whether they're into you and digging you. So the third question is, do you want kids? If so, how many kids do you want, and how much do you think it's going to cost to raise each kid? It's important to plan that out up front. Hopefully before you moved in together, you guys had some really good conversations about this, but now that you are moving in together, now it's critically important. Do you want kids? And to be very honest with it, either you do or you don't, or maybe you're open to it. But if you're open to it, underneath what circumstances? Is it an age thing, or is it one of those things, if it happens, it happens? Or what is your thought process? Because it's very clear, from my experience in talking to different people in real estate, as a matter of fact, they either want kids or they don't want kids, the same way they want a single-story home or they want a 2-story home. You have all these different thought processes, and you want to make sure that you're always in sync with each other. So addressing these 6 core questions early on, ideally before you move in, but definitely no later than moving in, will help you know whether you guys are going to stay in sync and ride out the long term together. So the fourth question that you want to ask is, what are your top money goals in the next 1 year, 5 year, 10 years, and in retirement? How much money do you believe that you need to live on in retirement? It all starts now. The younger that we can start these conversations, the earlier that we can start these conversations with a possible significant other that's going to lead to a marriage or lead to a very seriously committed relationship, the better off we're all going to be, as long as we're open, we're honest, we're respectful, and we're understanding of one another. Getting real about your finances now is going to help prepare you for long-term success in your relationship. So the fifth thing is, should you sign an agreement about your shared financial plans? In short, my suggestion would be yes, but it's up to each couple what they want to do. I think that putting things in writing is very, very prudent. Once you put it in writing, you have an agreement. You guys both sign it. Hey, I'm going to bring to our household 25% of my gross income or 50% of my gross income. I'm going to pay X, Y, and Z bills. I'm going to maintain my separate account, and I'm going to budget for 20% of my gross income going to retirement or what have you, right? It's very important to have a financial plan for each other and individually, right? It's important to make sure that you're working together. And it goes back to an old adage that as an iron sharpens an iron, so a friend sharpens a friend. Ideally, the person that you're in a committed relationship with is what? Your best friend, the person that you enjoy spending the most time with and that you're committed to. And you just so happen to have a very strong romantic relationship together, but it's your best friend. It's the person that you couldn't see yourself without. And it's the person that you always want to be with. And it's a person that you should be able to have open dialogue with without feeling like you're going to be judged and without fear of repercussion. So the sixth question is, you need to get clear about your savings and retirement goals. How much money are you going to budget each and every month towards your savings? How much money are you going to budget each and every month towards your retirement? Make sure that you guys talk about that, and it's important not to judge or to criticize your partner during these conversations. And conversely, Don't let them judge you. It's a two-way street, mutual respect, right? So make sure that you guys get in sync together, and whether you guys agree or disagree as far as how your partner spends his or her money and deals with debt, you can decide whether that person's behavior does or doesn't work for you. There may be disagreements. It's just about figuring out whether it works for you and being clear on your standards and clear on what you're thinking and what you're looking for in life before you take it to the next level. The next level is how to talk about money in your marriage and long-term relationship. So now everything gets super real, right? It's almost like crickets. It's kind of what it feels like when you talk about marriage with some people, like, what? I was just happy doing what we're doing, but now you're talking about marriage? Yeah, it's a natural progression of a relationship, and a lot of people take this. Again, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, we're looking at the average age is 29 as of the last census for a man getting married and 27 for a woman. So we're getting older and older and older. I mean, just 20 years ago, it was like 24 and 25. So it's kind of interesting how much longer people are waiting to get married, and that's okay. But you want to make sure that you plan everything out, including paying for your wedding. It doesn't mean that you're done with the money talk after you have the wedding plans, right? So it's important that you get really real about talking about your budget, talk about your finances, come up with a way of recalibrating shared goals, because now you guys are definitely a unit. A way that you guys should be looking at things is how can you overcome challenges together, whether it be financial, whether they be health, whether they be mental, spiritual, psychological, whatever the case may be. You want to be able to do it. So when managing money with a long-term partner or spouse, there are different critical considerations that you want to make. So obviously you're going to have logistics that you need to clarify. You're going to also want to clarify your shared philosophy, your religion, preferences, your goals, money management, your philosophy towards money management, and you also want to address your shared goals and what you'd like to accomplish in life together, right? Now, I just promised I was going to tell you about the top 10 reasons for divorce. The top 10 reasons for divorce are: number 1, infidelity; number 2, money; number 3, a lack of communication; number 4, constant arguing; number 5, weight gain. Really? Like, seriously, like we're not going to gain weight or lose weight over the course of life. Number 6, unrealistic expectations of one another. Number 7, lack of intimacy, which is kind of interesting, ties back into infidelity, but sometimes they're not always directly correlated, but something to think about. Number 8, lack of equality, where one partner feels like they're not giving as much as the other partner, or they're giving more than the other partner, and it starts coming up with a resentment towards each other. Don't let lack of equality be the issue. Always treat each other equally and with respect. Number 9 is not being prepared for marriage. Simply put, you didn't have these conversations, forethought, you didn't think this through. You got those little butterflies in your tummy, and you're like, oh, I'm in love, I want to get married to you, and you smell each other for like a week. Oh, we just knew it was right. Well, just knowing that it was right leads to divorce over one of these top 10 issues within 8 years or less. Just saying. So the 10th reason is abuse. Now, abuse could be emotional, physical, or psychological. Don't be an abuser. That's not cool. Don't be an abuser. Don't be a user. Take care of each other. I mean, if you're in a serious relationship, what's the point? The point is to give that person your best. The point is to help them become the best person they can be, but not judge them and not expect of them to love freely and to give freely. So that actually brings us to a point that I really want to get something that's really personal to me, and I want to share it with you, and I really hope that you'll find a lot of use in it. And it's the 5 pillars of any successful relationship. To have a truly successful, loving, committed relationship that rides the long term, you should have the 5 pillars. The 5 pillars are: number 1, love; number 2, respect; number 3, admiration; number 4, understanding; and number 5, acceptance. If you really think and look up each one of those words: love, respect, admiration, understanding, and acceptance, you'll see why they're the 5 pillars to a successful relationship. It encompasses everything: open dialogue, respect for yourself, respect for the other, making priorities of each other, and always making sure that you're also making yourself a priority in the process, and making sure that you're good to yourself and good to your partner. Because how can you truly be good to your partner if you're not first good to yourself? How can you not judge your partner if you're always judging yourself? These are really things that are very close to the cuff for me, and they may be close to the cuff to you. Obviously, they're matters of the heart, and I really hope that you've taken something away from this video. So what I'd like you to do is tell me what you're thinking about this episode in the comment section below, and what you learned from this video, along with any of your other tips about how to talk about money with your partner. Let's get real today, and let's help each other out with our community, continue to learn and grow together. So I'm going to go ahead and pop up my contact information. If you want to reach out, drop me a line to say hello, or if you need help finding a top agent where you live, please let me know. If you haven't already done so, I'm going to ask you to do 3 things. Number 1, please subscribe to this channel. Number 2, please like this video. Number 3, please share this video around with someone you know is going to be able to help, because just like you, I'm sure you know someone else that needs to get real and know how to talk about money with their partner. In between now and next time, I'm wishing you and yours a lifetime full of love, wealth, abundance, and happiness. Thank you for watching today, team, and enjoy an amazing day.